Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eliezer Morales. I'm a third-year student in the Master of Divinity program at Palmer Theological Seminary, and I feel honored to have this opportunity to share this essay as I got inspired by these 3 years that I have been in this institution, engaging with nature in different ways, looking at the changes of the seasons and learning from our diverse community. The topic of the essay is teaching worship through the study of God's creation. And it says like this: we do not have to look far to notice that there is diversity around us. As human beings, there are many things that make us similar, and at the same time, unique and different. There may be similarities in gender and age groups, while we can find diversity in race, tradition, and culture. Also, something that can describe us as individuals is our personalities. When we look at teaching techniques and approaches, we also need to acknowledge that not everyone learns a concept, skill, or topic the same way. This is due to all the factors that we have mentioned before. We are not all the same. As we engage with the multiple teaching experiences in the church, congregations should also take in consideration this principle. At some point in our lives inside the church, we may have heard phrases like, "It has always been done this way," or "That is how we do things here." But putting aside some specific practices that have a certain order because of the liturgy that has been established, not every practice in the church must be done the same way. Especially when it comes to worship, there are many unique and different ways that we can learn to express our devotion and appreciation to the Lord. As we navigate through this topic, we are going to share ways that we can embrace our diversity, promote inclusiveness, and appreciate our context in the light of what has been revealed to us through science and God's creation. So when we acknowledge our diversity as God's creation, we are talking about the things that makes us different related to our body, mind, and spirit. We all know that when it comes to our body, even though our anatomy is similar, we come in multiple shapes and sizes. Some people are also more active than others physically, not only because of their lifestyles, but because of their personality as well. So, for those that feel focused when they are engaging in some type of movement, we can advise them to worship God as they take a walk or a run outdoors. That way, we are not only devoting a time to connect with God, but also we are working on improving our physical health, as it is constantly advised by the health professionals. But for those that feel more engaged in their time with God by being calm and still, practicing different types of meditation like center prayer, contemplative prayer, including breathing exercises, could be some alternatives. Knowing how our body works through multiple scientific studies can help us understand ourselves in ways that can lead us to present our whole selves as living sacrifices of worship to the Lord. This affirms Dorothy F. Chappell in When God and Science Meet. As she states, acquiring knowledge of the creation provides an occasion to recognize, thank, and praise the Creator God. So when after we have acknowledged the diversity among us, we want to promote inclusiveness in our teaching of worship. This means that we understand that our faith communities are composed from people that come from different backgrounds, interests, fields of knowledge, and education. So, communities of faith should look for the things that unite us instead of the things that divide us. According to Carl Hoffman, a participant pastor of the Templeton-sponsored Scientists in Congregations program, it is not rare to hear a church member and research scientist remark, "I often feel more accepted by my non-Christian colleagues in the lab than I do by my fellow church members." This may be the experience of other people from other fields, not only from the science field. But we need to recognize that these people's knowledge can be very useful in the teaching of worship in our congregations. Their studies in God's creation shared with our congregation can lead us to discover more about how the creation declares the glory and sovereignty of our Lord. Therefore, this knowledge provides us with the opportunity to know more about the characteristics of our God and the care that has been placed in the creation of the world and universe that we live. The response of such acknowledgement from the congregation should be one of giving God honor, glory, and praise. As we have mentioned, not only knowing more about God's creation tells us how it declares to us His greatness, but also teaches us how to appreciate it even more. Taking care of God's creation by knowing how it functions is another form of worship. From the beginning, in Genesis 2:15, we know that humans were placed in the Garden of Eden, and the Lord instructed them to work it and take care of it. Acting in obedience of the commandments of the Lord is an act of worship. Therefore, it is important to recognize the value and characteristics of our context and environment to appropriately show care and appreciation of it. Science studies related to the wonders of nature can help us with that. People that work in the specific fields of science related with nature, like climate scientists, geologists, biologists, and physicians, could be the appropriate resources to teach the congregation about these studies. There are also multiple passages in the Psalms and around the Bible that talk about nature and creation. They can serve as the base of inspiration for our time of worship. Songs, pictures, literature about the creation, and even a visit to the Science Museum can spark in us a moment of contemplation and praise to our God. In conclusion, congregations should aspire to incorporate or engage with science in the experience of teaching worship. In that process, we will see a church that is more grounded in taking care of the creation that the Lord has placed in their hands. Not only that, but also a church that is closer to understanding and knowing its God and Creator. This knowledge will give us the power and skills to exercise better our faith and enable us then to be more effective in sharing it with others. The future of the church lies on discovering that God has revealed himself to us in many ways since the beginning of times through his creation. Science is giving us the tools, knowledge, and techniques to discover that revelation. Thank you.